Hi, everybody, and welcome back to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded channel. I'm Kelly Toole, the Kelly, at KELLYTHUL on Twitter. And with me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, the man that needs no introduction, a man of wealth and taste. I think I did pretty well. Mikey B.
That's a really long introduction for someone who doesn't need an introduction.
I've noticed. I just go with the program.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Mike at Official Pagan on Twitter.
And we'll give Tony the He's Too Much for My or Anybody Mirrors introduction tonight. Tony Solo.
Hi, everybody. I am Tony Solo on Twitter, and thanks for joining us.
And we have a jam-packed show for you tonight. We're going to talk about The Revenant, which was the sci-fi movie from last Saturday, which was actually surprisingly enjoyable. We're going to talk about something that wasn't slightly enjoyable, which was Oasis of Zombies, a Mike recommendation. And we've all watched it, and we're going to talk about that. We might do a little bit of Gotham because Tony and Mike were very successful in convincing me my time would be well spent watching it, and they were incredibly correct. And of course, we go into our zombie mode. We'll be talking about Z Nation and The Walking Dead. So, but before we do any of that fun stuff, we do what we usually do, which is SnarkAlec News, brought to us tonight by Mike.
Well, hello, everyone, and joining me tonight for this episode of SnarkAlec News is me.
Okay. There are no birthdays, by the way.
Okay, so there are no birthdays. Thanks, Tony. 10-4, the sci-fi original movie Dark Hall, H-A-U-L Hall. Do we know what that's about?
Yeah, we talked about that last week, but I forgot because I wasn't that interested. But
there's a truck. There's a truck involved.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just some kind of truck and some kind of stuff happening, but it's a premiere and it's dark. So
tune in, Trucker Talk on Sci-Fi Channel. 10/18.
Get your CBs.
What?
Get your CBs.
On 10/18, another sci-fi original movie, Finders Keepers. Do we know what that one's about?
It's about finding trucks.
Who cares?
I'm sure they'll quote that in the advertising. Quote, who cares? SnarkAlec Radio. Dylan Knows. Do we know who's on Dylan Knows this week?
Do not. I did not get the customary email from Dylan, and if I am guessing that he's on his regular time on Sunday, which is somewhere around 12:30, or
All right. So
yeah.
So far, here's what we got: no birthdays. Dark Hall could be about truckers. Finders Keepers. Who knows? Who cares? Dylan Knows. We have no idea what's on that. Tomorrow on Sci-Fi, Z Nation at 10 p.m. I'm excited again about this show. Episode 3 brought me back. Next week, 10/12, Return of the Walking Dead. You guys excited about the new season of Walking Dead?
Huge. I can hardly wait. Very fired up.
I am, but what is getting me through, and this is working out perfectly, is your next news item.
The season finale of The Strain is on Sunday.
Yes.
So The Strain, is The Strain to you as good as Walking Dead, or is it just something that's passing the time until Walking Dead comes back?
At this point, I'm going to say it's as good. I don't know if the character development and stuff is as good, but it's an action-packed story. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of different plots and subplots. So it has been enjoyable, and it did. Have you watched it at all, Mike?
Yeah, I'm caught up to it.
It started out a little bit slow, but once it kind of got rolling, it's been pretty good. So I am really enjoying The Strain, and unfortunately, but fortunately, the season finale is Sunday. And next Sunday, we'll get into The Walking Dead Live. So I've had something that's been gearing me up for it. So.
Okay. So next up, do we have a news item from you, Tony?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And so last Friday, Gerald Webb was verified, and there was much joy in the SnarkAlec universe. And
I
Gerald
feel like
Webb,
we should take full credit for that.
we can take full credit because we did work very hard, but there is somebody on this radio show that deserves a little bit more credit than everybody else. And it's definitely not me, and I know it's not you, Mike. So I'm going to ask Kelly, I don't know how much he wants to share about it, but you
Kelly,
definitely...
did you exchange sexual favors to get Gerald Webb verified?
I did not, Mike. I did not.
I noticed you paused between did and not.
No, just I took.
It was
breath.
subtle. It was
Well,
subtle, but I
collecting
picked up
myself.
on it.
I did not. Did not. So.
Could have said didn't. You said did not.
No. Is that better?
Yeah,
No.
SnarkAlec, read into that whatever you want.
Okay, so go ahead, Kel. Tell everybody what happened.
So actually, end of the day, it's about Gerald Webb obviously should be verified given everything he's done. And so it was always just a matter of having the right people see Gerald's stuff and you're done and you're good. And it's just been a trick with the way that Twitter works for that to happen. So I was fortunate enough a couple weeks ago to be across the table in a meeting with somebody from Twitter. And at the end of the business stuff, I kind of said, hey, there's this thing, and it's Gerald Webb guy, and he's really awesome. And Twitter's huge Sharknado fan, huge sci-fi fans. And just kind of said, I don't know what you can do, but sure would be nice. And the person was like, well, it's not my area, but I'd be happy to pass something along to our verification team. So Gerald got his information together, and we sent it along. And a couple days later, somebody from Twitter started knocking on the door saying, hey, give us a little bit of information here to do some final verification. And that started happening kind of early Friday morning. And then Friday by about 5 Eastern time, the blue check mark showed up. So it was very, very cool. But it was just a matter of, again, all they needed to do was see it, have the right people see it, and that's what happened, and it worked out really well.
So not only
here first, everyone, we are SnarkAlec Radio, and specifically Kelly Toole is 100% responsible for that. And now we are drunk with power, and world domination is only a few steps away.
And I'm thinking we save Canada. We don't do Canada first because that's the easy target.
Right.
You know, I say we take
Plus,
over.
I mean, let's face it, it's basically already ours.
Yeah, it is. We've got it kind of, but I was thinking of going after a more prime target. And
North Korea.
Actually, no. I was actually thinking of Australia because we need something down there. So I'm thinking of we should hit Australia first because they would never see us coming.
It's a good point. Plus, I mean, what are their real... I feel like we kind of owe them one for Iggy Azalea.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. Like that to me was a declaration of war.
Well, see, if we take Australia, what we can do is we can actually bring them into our time zone.
Okay.
Even though, so that way, they'll have the same time as us. So
then if we take Australia, where do we deport Iggy Azalea?
Canada. Actually, we could turn Canada into our version of what Australia used to be for the British Empire, which was a penal colony. And we can send, not only can we send the people that we spoke to Bronwyn about sending back, like Bieber and several, several other of these Canadians that we don't want, but we could even send the people that would like Kanye West. We can send him up there, and Canada could be our penal colony. That's fair, right?
I like it. Kelly, you on board with this plan?
Well, so the Australian benefit of being kind of the prison location was it's an island. I mean, it's a continent and an island, but it's an island, and there's a lot of border to keep track of if we use. I do like the concept quite a bit. I'm just some of the logistics are concerning me in terms of border protection, but these are things we can work out.
Right, right. We just built a fence. That's worked out really well for us.
No, I don't think.
Tighter than a drum. Yeah. We'll just parlay our success.
Now, Kelly, do you have any boos of the week?
Indeed, I do. So Helena Magevna is really encroaching on Lisa Marie Bowman territory and becoming the new dominant force in Boo of the Week. During The Revenant, when the gentleman came back from the dead, I did kind of a 1-2 pun of saying that his deadpan delivery belies the grave situation, something along those lines. And Helena booed that, but as she did last week, she threw a little topspin on it. It was like, "Have you no shame, sir?" Boo, and she booed that. So that was a very solid one. I was going to give it to Scott McDonald because I could have swore during the show I saw a tweet where he booed something. He goes, "I'm only booing this to get Boo of the Week." But I looked through my feed, Scott's feed, things I favorite. I could not find that tweet. So I don't know if he deleted it or I hallucinated it, but I'm going to have to go with to go with what I see.
Since we've had Dylan on talking about the assistant, I have noticed that elements of reality have started to fragment for me. Perhaps that's happening to you as well.
I bet you that's what I bet you. Scott's gonna tweet that in like 5 shows from now, and that's what I saw.
Kelly, are you a Time Lord?
No, no, I am not.
If you were, what would your TARDIS be?
Oh, I'm gonna have to think on that one. Before we can't get off Boo of the Week because I believe Tony has a Boo he would like to share as well.
Yeah, speaking of the strain, takes a little bit of setup, but they're in the basement, and Dutch, the hacker chick, was explaining how they were going to get into the emergency alert system, and F was complaining, and when she explained what she was going to do, he stopped talking. So my tweet was, "Way to shut the F up," but spelled E-P-H for Ephraim. And I followed that up with a "see what I did there," and I got booed by Jen528, Jenn, Jen. She booed me. And
she spelled her name wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Not 2 N's in Jen.
That's, well.
Fill her in about that.
All right, so we should tell her to get a spell check then.
Yeah.
So that was my boo.
SnarkAlec Radio, where we judge your name.
That's right. We're here to help. Her name's spelled wrong.
We're trying to make you better.
Yeah, that's right.
And since Mike didn't ask me, I'm going to put my 2 cents in. A women's changing room in the swimwear section of a major department store. That's what my TARDIS would be.
I was no idea for a minute there where the hell you were going with that. You're like,
I think that's his answer for everything. Where are you going tonight?
I'm going to my TARDIS.
Like some dark confessional where he was just going to end it with, "and if the police burst in, that was why."
Oh my. That's an interesting TARDIS choice you have there, Tony.
Wow.
We're being fisted, so we're going to take a break.
Again
And again. You're listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded. It's Tony, Mike, and Kelly, and we will be right back. Hey everybody, we're back. You're listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded. We've got Mike, we've got Tony, and Kelly. And we are going to work through our jam-packed show, starting off with, at least we're going to do a little bit of conversation around the sci-fi movie from last week, which was The Revenant. Not The Remnant that I thought going to the last show that was about a carpet scrap, but indeed it wasn't, and I'm glad it wasn't because it was actually a pretty good movie. Mike, did you get a chance to see that at all on Sci-Fi or not?
No, I did not get a chance to see it, but I did see a tweet suggesting that a scene in it would be reminiscent of where I lived. So I am curious as to what that was in relation to.
Okay, so I think I could explain that one because Joey, the sidekick of the original Revenant guy, who he was a soldier that was killed in Iraq, I believe, came back, and after they put him in the ground, he came back to life. And Joey lived in a pretty small, dirty, insect and rat-infested apartment. And I think I said to Mike, I said to Kelly, I think I said, this is what people would expect, Mike's apartment to look like or whatever, or what Kelly would expect your apartment to look like. And it doesn't look anything like that. But some people...
Thank you. I was going to say it looks exactly like that, but it's really expensive. I pay extra for the ambiance.
But they had some critters crawling around there, and they look like they were trained. So I'm going to say the critters may have been CGI'd in because I don't think they were real. But the main thing was in the middle of this guy's apartment, he had a Last Supper clock that had like fiber optic or LED lights around it, and it was very obnoxious, and the colors kept on changing and stuff. So. I think you have one of those somewhere, but you hide it whenever I come around.
With my Michael Bolton T-shirt.
Yes.
Yeah, the basic premise of this one, Mike, was, as Tony mentioned, this guy gets killed, and then they're gonna bury him, but then I never quite pieced together why they didn't. They had the hole, they had him there, but they didn't put the dirt on. I guess they get tired. I don't know. But that evening he snaps.
They ran out of gas. Ran out of gas.
Yeah. And so that night he comes back and realizes that he's dead but alive type of thing. And so he goes to hang out with his very slimy best buddy Joey, played by Chris Wilde. Who was tweeting during the show, mostly about his hair, but he was tweeting during. He was quite proud of. Joey had quite the mane of hair, and Chris was pretty proud about that. And so we tried to get a Chris Wilde's hair hashtag going for a while, and got a little bit of pickup, but not too much. But Joey puts the move on. Bart was the soldier that got killed. Joey puts the moves on Bart's fiance the night of the funeral. So that's the kind of close friend Joey was. So.
Yeah, and just to get back, how come he didn't die was they ran out of gas on the thing that they were going to use to put the I guess steel or concrete thing that closes the vault that they put the coffin in, because they don't just put the coffin in the ground, people. They cover it with something. It goes in like a big casing, and they ran out of gas.
Tupperware.
Yeah. And yeah, something like that. And he was a revenant, and a revenant, Mike, is like half zombie, half vampire, because he's dead. During the daytime, he's not active, but the sunlight doesn't kill him, and he needs to drink blood. So he doesn't eat people, but he needs blood.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. But I mean, I liked it. It was good. It was different. There was some really, really funny stuff in there.
Yeah, and some of it was. I mean, some of it was subtle is too strong of a word for it.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't hit you over the head because it was. I mean, basically Joey's apartment was this house of horrors in terms of everything that's going on. There's the clock that Tony mentioned, and then basically any pet that he had. You could tell that they died a horrible existence because there's like a fish tank that looks like it's full of motor oil, and there's kind of some fish carcasses in it. There's someone thinks they may have spotted a hamster skeleton. I'm not sure, but it was not Joey was not a good caretaker of the animals. So.
But I think we've spent enough time on the Revenant.
That sounds good to me. Although it was pretty cool
Yeah.
when Joey also turned and was planning a career in Las Vegas as a zombie killing people, and got his head run over by a steamroller. So that was nice.
Yeah, and I like the way the movie ended. Without giving too much away, Mike. I don't know if it's on Netflix, but if it is, I might watch it again just so I could see the movie without all of the beeped out dialogue.
Okay.
It would probably make it a little bit more enjoyable because even though you knew what they were saying, but it was just so funny how they had a couple of montages that were pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely watch it again if I could see it uncensored.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I had. So first of all, Saturday night movies have almost been ruined for me because of Amy Glitters. So she's trouble out there because she is fast with the puns and she does the best ones and she beats me and I'm still never going to forgive her for the barely made it pun from
Yes.
Chernobyl Diaries. That's outstanding. But so you got to be on your toes now with Amy out there because she's rocking it. But I missed this one completely, which was when Joey's head got mushed, which I wanted to tweet now. I realized what I should have absolutely tweeted at that time was, we all knew Joey was a level-headed guy. See, that would have been good. That would have been really good then, but
Yeah, it falls flat now during the radio show.
there's a timing thing, and when you're like
Yeah.
a week away from the movie, it's probably not the timing that will work from there. But I think level-headed is the right steamroller head smash pun to apply for future reference. Alrighty, do we go into Oasis of Zombies next?
Yeah, we probably want to get the bad stuff out of the way and then start getting to the good stuff after.
That would be accurate for this. So we have Mike to thank for this. Now
You're welcome.
It's not it should be an apology.
Well, it didn't cost any money, other than what you pay for Netflix. It wasn't like Troll 2, where there was an additional outlay of cash. But
it felt like it cost money.
well, I mean, everybody knows that I like to watch bad movies, and there's bad movies. This started a couple of weeks ago when I mentioned I had watched Zombie Lake, and I thought Mike had mentioned it, but I also had read something about it, so I watched it, and it was bad. This movie, Oasis of the Zombies, was probably the movie that made Zombie Lake look like an Oscar winner because it was so bad on so many different levels. I just couldn't stop watching it, and I had to watch it all the way till the end. And we could probably do a whole show on Oasis of the Zombies, but it's not like they weren't funded. It looked like they had a good camera. Just the guy that was working it didn't know what the hell he was doing. There was one section where there was and I don't even remember the character's name, but the British soldier's son, he got the notification that his father had died, so he's in this room, and there's all these portraits on the wall, and the camera was trying to go from portrait to portrait, and it would like kind of overshoot and then come back and spend like 2 seconds on the portrait once it found it and centered it, if it did center it, and then it would go to the next one and overshoot and go up and down like the guy didn't know where it was, and there was lighting problems and a whole bunch of other stuff going on, and the story was ridiculous. And maybe I missed something, but when they were in that marketplace and they met up with that professor and the blonde-headed girl, someone said there's the European guy, he's at the Raja's house or whatever, And like all of a sudden everybody was like, oh, let us go there. And how did he know who the European guy was? You know, um, it was just pretty ridiculous. But
See, I feel like right there you're looking way too deeply into the plot.
I want to talk about the butts. I like the butts. That was a good way to start the show. I mean, but I don't quite understand. It was great. There was a lot of butt on the screen in the first 5 minutes, but I didn't really. The butts were not advancing the plot. They were there. They were ever present, but they were not advancing the plot. So, Mike, since you did recommend this movie, you probably understand it on many more levels than either Tony or I do. So tell me the story behind Butt 1 and Butt 2 a little bit, could you?
I would never dare to try and interpret another artist's vision. So, in that respect...
So this whole talking about movies stuff isn't going to work out too well on this show, is it?
Yeah. Well, no, here's the thing, though. Here's something that's interesting that you should know about this movie. So, and this movie, in a weird way, sort of ties into Zombie Lake. Zombie Lake was directed, sort of, by a director that I really, really like his work, named Jean Rollin. But he directed these sort of mostly silent art house films that are amazing, but unfortunately those types of films don't pay the bills. So he started taking jobs on abandoned films and like finishing them off. Films where the director or crew or cast left or were fired, and he would just step in and for a paycheck finish the films. So he started kind of finishing off these films, and unfortunately for him, like, it was a paycheck, but he started getting the blame for really bad movies like Zombie Lake. Zombie Lake was started by another cult director named Jess Franco, who of course made Oasis of the Zombies.
Okay, so there is a connection between the two. And
I was not going to accept that there was anybody with any directorial expertise involved with Oasis and Zombies.
Well,
there is no evidence of that.
Well, I mean, I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to say there was no cinematography or no cinematographer who knew what the hell they were doing. But there was also lighting issues, and I understand what they were trying to do, and I'm gonna stick with the film. Listen, what you need to do is you need to go online and you need to watch The Assistant. Okay, it's Dylan by himself with a cell phone. He's got 10 episodes in the can, and he may have more. The cinematography in Dylan's The Assistant with a freaking cell phone far outshines anything that was in this movie. Okay? And I would actually say that what Dylan is doing is Emmy-worthy compared to that movie, only because Dylan is doing it all by himself. You know? This guy that made Oasis of the Zombie had people telling him, yeah, this is the thing to do, you know, and he must have said, hey, listen, he had some guy interning on the camera saying, hey, I'll get you some college credits, you know, work the camera for me. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. But yeah, I mean, not that the story was much better, but the just the way the movie was shot was really distracting. But I have another movie that I actually saw, and it was by a director named Uwe Boll. Have you ever heard of him, Mike?
Uwe Boll?
Uwe Boll. Is that how he... Oh, that's right, because he's German.
Fastest man in the world, right?
No, that's Usain Bolt.
Oh, okay. Shoot.
Uwe Boll is a German director.
Was it Kill Bill?
No, he actually did Postal. He did In the Name of the King 2, which we saw on Sci-Fi.
Nearly all of his films, including both Postal and In the Name of the King 2, are very, very loose adaptations of video games.
Right. And he's known for making video game movies.
Sort of.
Yeah.
How many butts are in these movies?
There's usually a fair amount of butts, but they usually have absolutely nothing to do with the games.
Okay, so there was no butts in this one, but I'm going to give you the name. The Netflix name for this movie is Zombie Massacre. And the thing that makes this movie interesting to me is that everybody in this movie, except for maybe 2 or 3 characters, have either a Scottish or an Irish accent, including Uwe Boll, who actually does a cameo and plays, not a cameo, but he plays the President of the United States. And he speaks English with an Irish accent, and he uses the word fuck a lot.
And he's the fastest man in the world.
No, that's Usain Bolt.
Okay. Shoot.
So,
this might be kind of an interesting segment. So, our good friend Patrick a lot of does the late night movie club on Saturday nights, and they kind of pick a bad movie on YouTube, and some folks join in a chat room and do some stuff, and it's really cool. Highly recommend doing that if folks haven't done that. But maybe what we can start to do, because Mike gave us some homework last week, and we had a fine movie to watch, and we learned a little bit. Sounds like you're giving us one this week. Zombie Massacre on Netflix. Any of our listeners who also can listen, we're going to probably, it's our assignment to make sure we watch it before the next show to report back. Is that the plan, Tony?
Yeah, we'll talk about it if you guys want to. But remember,
yeah.
I am telling you off the bat that this is a bad movie.
Oh, I've seen plenty of Uwe Boll's movies, so I know quality-wise where this is going to land already.
And to tell you the truth, if you just heard us talk about Oasis of the Zombies, this movie is an Oscar winner compared to that. But it's still shitty.
So,
okay.
I have a fun Uwe Boll story.
Okay.
Before I tell that, though, I will say, Kelly, you're getting fisted hard.
Yeah, okay. Hey, Mike's going to come back and tell us a story. We're going to be back with no buts on SnarkAlec Radio on Live 360.
Or will there be?
Hard to tell. Go back in time. The assistant. We'll be right back. SnarkAlec Radio, Live 365, loud and loaded. Hey, everybody. We're back. We're eagerly awaiting a story from Mr. Mike. You're listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded. And I'm still pretty convinced that you guys don't know who Usain Bolt is. I think it's the same guy. But anyway, go ahead.
So, the first thing I'll say, because I'm going to say a lot of disparaging things about Uwe Boll, he made a movie called Seed that isn't terrible.
I believe
that's not the most glowing review ever.
Is that almost a zombie movie? I think that's almost a zombie movie. I think it's been on Sci-Fi.
How is something almost a zombie movie?
The Revenant was almost a zombie movie too, but he was a Revenant, which is kind of like a zombie, but not.
I wouldn't say it's a zombie movie or almost a zombie movie. It's about a prisoner who they attempt to execute and doesn't die. And it was shot without a script, and somehow is his best film.
In Texas, probably, right?
Is easily his best film. But anyway, Uwe Boll's first big U.S. release was the movie adaptation, and that's stretching the limits of the word adaptation, of the video game House of the Dead. I went to a convention/film festival where he was there, and he was promoting this film, and they were still shooting it, and he had about 10 minutes of footage from the movie, which he showed there to pump the audience up. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the House of the Dead games.
No, I'm not.
They were actually really good first-person shooter games. So I was kind of excited that they were being turned into a movie, and then when he showed the footage, it was still in its rough form, but it kind of looked cool, and there were some interesting things going on, and he really stressed that it was going, unlike other video game adaptations, it would actually somehow tie into the film, or the film would tie into the game. So I was kind of excited about this until the movie came out. I don't think any of the footage he showed was in the actual movie. And the only tie into the game was, if you've never seen it, they literally filmed the arcade game screen and put that cut that in throughout the film. It's not even like screen captures. There's glare on the screen. They filmed an arcade cabinet of someone playing the game and intercut that bootleg style game footage throughout the entire movie at completely random points.
That's
And that is
hard.
Okay, and as I did some of my research before the show started, I did a little bit of work, but I was like, who the hell is this guy? And I came across this article from Cinema Blend, and the headline is Uwe Boll, Money for Nothing, the awful truth behind the worst director in the world.
taxes.
And so
He should sell some of his gold medals. He'd be fine.
but that was one of the statements that they make is because he produces his own film, he's got a production company, and this guy is saying that whenever he sees the words "a Bowl KG production," the opening title card that strikes fear into all but the most mentally challenged theater critics, which is just awesome. So, okay, so it's Zombie Massacre is what it's called on Netflix. But that's not the title in his IMDb. The title in his IMDb is, I'm looking for it now, is Apocalypse.
2010 taxes, right?
No, it's Apocalypse Z is what's in his IMDb.
Okay.
But it's definitely, I mean, it's definitely worth a watch. It's an hour and a half.
Okay.
You know, it's definitely worth it. It's bad. It's bad. Don't say, hey, you know, Tony's giving it 2 thumbs up for its badness.
No, I think this is, could be a fun little segment. We'll have to keep playing around with it a little bit, but we can take it as homework to make sure we watch it, and we can chat a little about it in a segment on the next show or two, whenever we can have some time. So that'll be good.
Can I add something to the homework then? You need to go and look up the Uwe Boll critic boxing matches.
Okay, but
these are actual boxing matches?
Yeah, he continues to take a lot of flack because there's a popular belief that his movies are intentionally bad, and that he wants them to fail, and it ties back to the Boll KG production company. He makes quite a bit of money in tax credits through his production company that is based out of Germany, and he actually makes more money off the failures of the films than he does if they were to be successful.
Right. Well, yeah, kind of like the producers, where like the producers, like they raise 10,000, and when the movie tanks, they don't have to pay back the investors, and almost like, okay, Mike, I'm going to talk sports. Like the Pittsburgh Pirates don't have to have a winning team because they get subsidies from the Major League Baseball. So the major market teams, they get money for TV rights and whatever. So they don't even have to put a winning team. They can have a $500,000 salary, and they don't have to have anybody in the ballpark. They'll still make money just because they own the franchise.
Correct. That is exactly what he does. And he even wrote a book about how to use the tax credit system in your favor as far as producing films and things like that. So there's a belief that these movies are intentionally bad and that he wants them to fail. So he challenged his most vocal critics to a charity boxing match and physically fought critics of his films.
Well,
I can't imagine there's a lot of strong physical specimens on either side of the equation in these boxing matches. I'm gonna be a little stereotypical, a little broad brush. Maybe I'm wrong, but
it's quite funny to watch these boxing matches because while you're correct, particularly when it comes to the critics, Uwe Boll was actually a boxer before he got into filming.
And the running thing.
Yeah, and
filming crap.
Before he got into filming crap. And the majority of his critics were unaware of this and just jumped at the opportunity to fight this old German guy who they felt was ripping them off out of their money, and all of them had their asses beat.
So and that'll be YouTube content for us? Is that where we can pick that up?
Yeah, you should be able to find it pretty readily. It's pretty funny.
Okay, so we got Zombie Massacre, homework assignment, plus
Shockwave in the boxing.
Shockwave and the wow, it's gonna be a busy week.
Well, there's nothing I watch on Wednesdays now.
As long as you're okay, we're okay. So.
Yeah, no. Wednesday's cool for me, But on Mondays is not good because there's Gotham now.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that, by the way. I had a point. Oh, so this whole being bad is a moneymaker. Is there something we should be doing? I'm wondering.
Well, we got to talk about this after the show, dude.
We've got some bad momentum going that we need to channel here.
So it doesn't look like Shockwaves is on Netflix, or at least the one quick search I did. You can rent it for $2.99 on Amazon.
You want to know something? No, that defeats the purpose. I will not pay for it if I can get it for free. But I have gotten to the point where I have to get it for free, or else I'm not doing it because.
Hey, never catch me complaining about having to pay for something.
No,
it's not my deal at all. So hey, I don't know if you guys knew, but Vicky Adesso joined us during the Usain Bolt segment.
Vicky Adesso?
Vicky Adesso's watching tonight. She is, and she was very nice. Vicky Adesso retweeted some of our tweets. I saw the tweets come from the Vicky Adesso Twitter account.
Oh, you did? I wonder if Amy Glitters is watching also. I know Holly Wilson is watching, and Myrna and Lee Midgie Girl, but I wonder if Amy Glitters is watching. Jen is probably watching too. I didn't see a tweet about misspelling her name, but if she's not watching, then she's going to have a talking to after the show. And I think Gerald Webb was watching at one point too. I don't know if he still is, but he said a special thanks out to you. I retweeted that, Kel. I don't know if you saw it.
Cool. Yep. It's all Gerald, man. It's just it's just awesome to see that check mark with his name, because boy, if there's anybody who deserved to be verified, it was Gerald. Dude has done a lot, and so it's very cool to see that out there. So, yay, Gerald. All right, so we got a couple of minutes here. So we're going to need to do Zombie Massacre. We got 4 minutes. So Zombie Massacre, any of our listeners, if you guys get a chance to watch it too, when we come in, you can kind of jump in and tweet during the segment and share some of your opinions on it. We'll try and catch some of the boxing too, for sure. We'll put the highly expensive Shocky thing on the shelf temporarily. And I still need to get back to Zombie Lake, so we can do a report out on that. I know, Mike, you provided explicit direction on the order that these movies were to be watched, and I wasn't trying to be a rebel, but Tony had watched the Oasis movie and was had some opinions on it, so I was like, well, I want to make sure I get that one locked and loaded for this show. So that one.
You're probably going to like Zombie Lake a little bit better. And I'm not going to tell you why, but
that won't be hard.
Unfortunately, out of the two, it's the superior movie, for a couple of reasons.
Okay. Well, and so we're going to go to a break in a sec, but I am going to, I'm going to come back to the Butts and Oasis of the zombies, because Mike, I didn't understand. There are these two young ladies at the beginning of the movie, and again, with the horrific cinematography that Tony mentioned earlier, it was like their method to establish you're in the oasis where zombies are buried was to zero in on what I assume was a plane. I'm not clear. Maybe it was a truck, but there was a swastika pretty prominent on some piece of metal, and right. So when people would come into this area, they zero in on it, and it's like Nazi land.
and that's
the greatest amusement park.
Okay, what I could never figure out, and the whole gist of the movie was there was supposed to be some stolen gold that was buried in this oasis, yes. And what they were looking for. There was this.
But one and but two were not looking for gold.
No, they weren't. But they were whining, and they deserved to get ripped apart by the zombies anyway. But there was this little, and I don't know what it was, gold thing that they would show every once in a while whenever they were in. What the fuck was that? What the hell was it? Was it supposed to be like, oh, look, it's the gold bar? What the hell was that thing? I don't know. I paused it. I zoomed in. I couldn't figure out what the hell that was supposed to be.
I
with that great cinematography.
Yeah, I paused and zoomed in, but that wasn't the segment. But,
yeah, okay, yeah, I understand, Kel.
Yeah, I couldn't either. That was Mike. Do you know what that was? Because it would be swastika thing. I don't know what it is. Swastika thing. It was like a little
So-
small.
The subplot of the movie is, of course, they are Nazi zombies, and it's Nazi gold is what it's supposed to be.
That little thing in the middle of the screen's Nazi gold.
Yeah.
Nazi gold.
Yeah, because you cannot see it.
The best
Because you
gold.
cannot see it. No, because you
Greatest
cannot
gold
see
known
it.
to man, Nazi gold.
Nazi gold.
But okay,
1/3
so
less calories than regular gold.
yeah, I will throw you. I will throw you. My most enjoyable part of that movie was the whole. Every time they showed the fight sequence or the battle sequences, it was the same things just over and over and over, and the worst acting and let's call it stunt work ever. People jumping before the explosion happens and stuff. Like it was, as if they got exploded, but no, they didn't because the explosion didn't happen yet. But the guys were jumping anyway. Guy jumps, explosion. Ah.
Well, I'm a big Ed Wood fan, and his one of the real trademarks of his movies, he would make very generous use of stock footage and splice it throughout the movies. And this, I hadn't seen this level of stock footage usage since an Ed Wood movie. But yeah, it was when it was them acting in quotes, in the early jumps it was bad, and then the stock footage they just replayed the same stuff, which is the same thing Ed Wood would do as well. And I tell you what, so we've done the bad, so now we're going to come back and start doing the good for the rest of the show and start talking about Z Nation and Walking Dead. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. We promise. You're listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded channel. We'll be right back. And we're back. Free Bill stickers. It's Tony, Mike, and Kelly. And we have made our way through some horrific movies. We've got an assignment. Anyone listening as well, if you can get a chance to watch Zombie Massacre before the next SnarkAlec Radio, we'll be talking at least a little bit about it, so that'll be pretty fun. But now we're going to move from kind of maybe less pleasant fare to more enjoyable stuff. Zombie Z Nation.
Why don't we do Gotham? Why don't we do Gotham first, and then we'll go back into zombies? Yeah.
I think the host has decided we're going to do Gotham first, and then we'll go to Z Nation. So,
Okay, well.
hey, let's talk about Gotham. That's cool. So, first of all, thank both of you. I, through no particularly thought-out process, which is kind of how I roll, I just hadn't prioritized Gotham as something I was going to watch. I wasn't sure. Mike, do you want to provide your very brief reason why anyone should watch Gotham?
I believe it's fucking Batman.
There you go. Which those words resonated, and so I started watching it, and wow, it is outstanding. I am truly enjoying it. So we are 2 episodes into Gotham, right? I think so.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk a little bit about that second episode? So, Tony, first episode versus second, both the same for you, building nicely. What's your enthusiasm level going on?
Okay, my enthusiasm level went through the roof on the second episode because they did the intros and they set up the main story arc, which is the search for the killers of Bruce Wayne's parents. They had to introduce all the characters, so they kind of forced some of that, even though it didn't feel as forced as I've seen it in other shows, but I liked the opening episode and I saw enough for me to want to see more, and they just jumped right into it in this one. All badass, a good story, good characters, a lot of action. I mean, I was like, if I thought the first episode was a 7, the second episode definitely a 10, and I just hope they keep it up. Great story so far.
Well, since you did that, we have to ask Mike. Mike, what would you rate? Why don't you give us your ratings for the first episode of Gotham and the second episode of Gotham?
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
On a scale of 1 to 10, the first episode was this bottle of cheap wine that I'm drinking. It was delicious. It had its flaws, but I definitely stuck around, and I was going to open bottle 2 no matter what.
And you finished it.
My only real issue, honestly, I really enjoyed the first episode. My one issue, though, is they did try and introduce too many characters in one episode, I felt.
Right.
To the point where it was getting almost like visible winks to the audience, like Scream style. Like, hey, look, it's this person. Get it?
Yeah, we talked about that last week, and it was like,
Right.
why did they have to introduce Poison Ivy when her character doesn't even have a story arc at this time, or maybe she
Right,
does.
and wasn't even in the second episode.
Right.
Oh, yes, she was.
Was she?
Yeah, because she's the daughter of the guy that got framed.
Yeah.
That's the second episode, right? Keep things straight.
No. The first episode was when they show her the guy that got framed for the murder. Was the first episode, the pilot.
Right.
And they went back and spoke to the wife in this one, but I mean,
And she was there.
She was there, but
Right.
again, she has my statement was she has no.
Is what I meant.
Yeah, she has no story yet. So I mean, she may have been there, but at this point, she's got no storyline.
Right. And so the second episode, I loved every second of it because they didn't do that, and I felt like the second episode was both more grounded in reality, and at the same time was a little bit darker, I thought.
And it had the big, kind of over the top villain that you'll get kind of in more when you go into the graphic novel type of thing. So the collectors of the children were
Right.
I really liked those characters. I thought they were a little hammy, to a certain degree, but they were still pretty outstanding. They were pretty fun in the process.
I definitely got like off of the female one, like an Andrew Sisters vibe, and the dude that was working with her reminded me of a soda jerk that you might see in an Abbott and Costello film from the Second World War era. That's the vibe that I got from them the whole time that they were on.
Very 40s, 50s kind of mojo going with both of them, definitely. And I'm so glad last episode, as we were talking about it, I had a point I was going to make about the young lady playing Catwoman. And
what point is that?
I'm not going to make it because subsequently I've
Kelly
learned
did some research and he found
research
out.
found out this young lady's 15 years old, and so I'm just going to compliment her on being a very fine actress. And she actually is. She's doing a great job as an actress.
So you were admiring her talents.
I noticed her, and I noticed her for her acting ability from here on out. Period. And
I will tell you that her most striking feature is her eyes. There's something about her eyes, and maybe it's the cat likeness of her eyes, but I mean, she not in a bad way. She's a pretty young lady, but she does have that cat-like way of moving that really sells the idea that she is Catgirl. And I think that's what we're going to have to call her from now on. Not Catwoman, but Catgirl.
Catgirl, yeah. Yeah, and this is definitely not a show where any member of the show would ever kind of say she's hot, because that's not what would happen on this show. And thank God it didn't happen.
And next week, tune in for more creepy old guys talking about God.
So it's like, ah. But no, so really kind of cool thing in terms of, so did a lot of research. One, I found out, Tiger, just shut up about the girl. And then the other part is the Penguin. We have seen the actor playing the Penguin in another show that we're very fond of. Do you know which one that was?
He was in. What the hell was he in? Was he in? No. Was he in The Walking Dead?
He was in The Walking Dead. Sam,
Um,
the flaky blonde-haired guy with the dislocated shoulder that Carol took care of.
he played him? Holy
Sam.
crap. He's been in something else, too. I have to look him up because I know he looks familiar from something else, but he was the one that was with the girl with the gimpy leg and the tattoo. And
Mm-hmm.
wow.
And I think, mild spoiler, I think we might see Sam in Terminus. So, at least briefly. I don't know. We'll see.
Or they may be serving him.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, it might be Sam a la King. Who knows? We'll have to see on that. But yeah, because I just was going through and I didn't make the connection at all until I just went through his IMDb and they said, oh, he's in Walking Dead. And I was like, this guy was in Walking Dead, and he was Sam. And I had Sam more as like of a surfer dude, is the way I was kind of remembering him. But then I saw the shot and go, oh yeah, it's the guy. But that guy is. So I assume the Penguin is going to be one of the most deranged folks in this world that they're framing up, and he is well on the road to being remarkably creepy.
Very, very creepy, considering what they showed of him. And even though, they did not show him a lot in the most recent episode, but they covered so much with him. They showed you what he's capable of, and hey, he's getting started on becoming a kingpin. I kind of like him. I'm just wondering whether they're going to spring, because every time the Riddler comes in, and they talk to him, they're very dismissive, and I'm guessing in one of these episodes there's going to become a tipping point where he decides he's going to become a criminal also.
Yeah. So the Riddler is the Aquaman of the Batman villain set for me. In terms,
I wouldn't go that far.
But
I agree. He's
Aquaman-esque.
Yeah, I agree. I like him the least out of the villains in the whole DC Batman universe. But Aquaman is pretty low.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Now I'm gonna express my only knowledge of the Riddler comes from Gorshin's portrayal in the Batman TV shows from back in the day. Aquaman is pretty lame. And I think if they are showing the Penguin at this level and some of the other violence, I'm guessing that the Riddler is probably going to be more badass than Aquaman is lame in DC. And yeah, he is probably the lamest of them all, I think.
I agree. He's the worst character in the Batman universe. It's just, to me, Aquaman is the worst insult you can hurl upon a comic book character.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think that's he sets a scale. There's a bell curve of cool. He occupies one end of that for sure. But no criticism. The actor. Already the Penguin's a character that seems like there's a lot of room to start to work with what's going on there and all that. It seems like there might be more of a one-note-ish to the Riddler. Maybe that'll change as time goes by. The actor's certainly doing a fine job, but
I think you hit on something really good there too, where I personally, and it seems like you guys are on the same page with this, I think the portrayal of the Penguin in this is excellent.
Yeah. Well,
I think the actor's perfect and the portrayal is excellent. So I just think when you take a weaker villain like Riddler and you put him up against not only a stronger character, but what is turning into an excellent performance of that character, I really don't think he stands a chance then.
Well, I'm gonna remind you guys what I said last week. My concern with the show that it's on at 8 o'clock. Were they going to be able to get dark enough to keep the audience happy? Because in Gotham, it is a very dark world, and what both you guys are saying, Penguin right now is a friggin' maniac, and I don't know if if the story, the way they're doing it, has anything to do with the origin stories that come out of the comics, or if they're making stuff up as they go along. But yeah, there is the potential in the Riddler for him to seem lame compared to what the Penguin is doing. But look at what Bonnie and Clyde were doing this week in the show. They were rounding up kids and to the going to the doll maker. Now that probably means something to comic fans, Batman fans, but it doesn't mean anything to me. And so these are his henchmen, but they didn't get to the doll maker yet. So that's going to come back, I think. We're going to see more of this storyline about the kids. Well, actually, the whole bus is gone now, you know, of kids. Oh, no.
They saved them.
They saved them. But they're still, I'm probably thinking that they're going to try and find out what the, who's behind the whole thing.
And I like Gordon's partner. I wish I knew his name, but I'm not a detail guy. Gordon's partner. I like that character a lot, too.
Oh, man, what the hell is his name? Bill Bob, something like that?
Bill Bob.
Bill Bob.
Bill Bob is doing an excellent job.
He is. Hey, I tell you what, as great a job as Bill Bob has done in Gotham, we're going to take a break, and I think when we come back, we're going to probably start talking a little Z Nation and Walking Dead, and also I think we're going to mention the a prop that I won on Twitter. So we'll be right back.
Really?
Yeah, more on that after the break. You're listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded, and we'll be right back. Hey everybody, we're back. You're listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded. It's John, Paul, George, and Ringo here, and we are now going to move into the next segment where we're going to talk about Z Nation and Walking Dead. But before we do, breaking news. Are you guys familiar with the movie Piranhaconda?
I think I've seen it once. I think it was on Sci-Fi.
It was a sci-fi film, correct?
Yeah, it was. It was a sci-fi film. And
Roger Corman, I think.
Yeah, I think it might have been there was a Terry Ivans. Terry Ivans was in it, yes.
And Rib Hillis, a guy named Rib Hillis was in it too.
So
he was also in Terracuda versus Snarktopus vs. Terracuda, I think.
Yeah. And just through fate, one of the two prop eggs in Piranhaconda has ended up with me. And this is something.
How did that happen?
It magic through the magic of Twitter. In that you tweet, and they just said, "Hey, how would you like this prop egg?" And I said, "I would love this prop egg." And so it's something I don't mention, but I thought I'd bring it up tonight that I do actually have it because, and this was and I just felt, I mean, so Tony, I want you to understand the personal torment and pain that I have gone through the past week with the realization, and this is really painful for me, that there has been probably 3 eggs themed towards Mike in the history of SnarkAlec Radio, and there had yet to be a Tony Solo egg, and that wasn't for any plan, wasn't anything behind it, just hadn't happened. But
I would like to think though that there is something special between us, like a certain chemistry.
Yeah, well, you can think that, but anyway.
I would like to think that I act as a sort of muse for your creative whims.
And you can think that too, as much as you like. But so tonight, I needed to address this egregious wrong, and so we have Tony Ego tonight, and it is the egg wearing a Pink Floyd T-shirt, black Pink Floyd T-shirt. It's actually the Animals cover on there, Tony. So I know. Close to some of the things you have. It's got a New York Jets pendant, and the better photo of it's on. I've tweeted it out at the beginning of the show. It's on Instagram. I think we'll see if we can do this thing here for you to kind of give it at least a little bit of a close up here. We'll see how we do. I have a little hard time seeing there, but yeah, there we go. So you've got your Pink Floyd T-shirt. You've got the New York Jets pennant. And then I thought I'd throw in some Oreos too, just for fun. So it's Tony Ego tonight. So, in honor of you, Tony, so my apologies that it took this long to actually get one of those done. Not that I ever bring up the egg, but that's the one for tonight. So.
I appreciate it. That is awesome. I love Oreos. That was pretty cool.
That's, by the way, it's the first Jets pendant that's ever been printed off at my house, and it'll probably be the last. So. All right.
That was very cool.
And that's out there for folks listening. I tweeted out at the beginning of the show a link to it on Instagram so you can see it in its finery.
Okay, and I just want to point out that Myrna comments that, this is probably putting her back on the enemy of the state list. Don't blame me, Myrna. It's not my list. But Myrna says, you complete each other. And I believe she's talking about you and Mike.
I think that's a three-way.
Are you thinking about a three-way, Kelly?
Not like you are, Mike. I can guarantee that. So,
on a very special episode of SnarkAlec Radio.
So,
are we gonna preteens and three-ways? So
did we finish up with? Are we done with Gotham?
I think so. Outside of thanks again for the recommendation last week, because I don't know what possessed me not to watch this thing, but it's outstanding. I'm enjoying it so far. There's not a character I don't like in terms of the actor's portrayal. I'm a little bit iffy on the lady with the little shock of red in her hair, Jada Pinkett Smith's character.
Oh, Fish. I love her.
Yeah, I don't dislike her. I don't know. She's just not hitting a home run for me like so many of these other characters are right now. But not bad. But just there's so many other characters I'm just like falling in love with, and her so far I'm enjoying. But
I'm not huge into her character, but I'm really strongly not a fan of Jada Pinkett Smith. So that could be clouding my judgment on the character.
Well, I like my least favorite characters on the show are the other two detectives that are investigating behind Jim's back, the major crimes detectives. I am curious to see how they play into the overall story. You know, they pop up every once in a while, but you know it's going to be one of those episodes. It's going to feature them, and you're going to be like, I see. Not a big fan of the mayor, and he was in Sharknado too. He played the ex-Met that they meet in Citi Field. But other than that, yeah, no complaints about the show. So.
Cool. All right, Z Nation. Gosh, where to start on that? So, let me see if I can capture Mike's arc on Z Nation so far. Liked the first episode, felt it was starting to stake out territory that made itself its own in the zombie world.
Correct.
Felt the second episode regressed a little bit.
Yes.
And began to be less distinctive. And so now after episode 3, where is Mike today?
I feel like episode 3 was right back on track. I almost wish episode 3 was episode 2. Episode 2 for me, I felt just retread things we'd already seen and did not bring the originality and the unique sensibility that episode 1 did. But I really enjoyed episode 3.
How about you, Tony?
Yeah, I said last week that I was still high on the show. It seemed a little bit slow, and it seemed like the second episode was basically the sole purpose was to try and tell Sunshine's backstory and pretty much set up this episode, episode number 3. But you know, from start to finish, and I have some quibbles, but yeah, back on track. And did you guys have a chance to read the email that Laura Norman sent out?
I did. Let me bring it back up here again to refresh myself, but I did get a chance. Thanks for sending it. And Laura, thanks for sending it in on your BlackBerry, because I knew that probably took you like a week. Let me find that again here real quick. But yeah, Laura Norman did have some really good points in some of her things. So, Tony, do you want to speak to that since you've got it probably handy?
Maybe you should read that. I'm busy doing something else at the moment.
Okay, alrighty. So Laura Norman shared the following, and I almost want to read this as Kamer Dixon, but I'm not going to do that. So here's some of Laura Norman's read, which is outstanding, by the way. I don't know how far in the apocalypse they are. I'm guessing 6 months. They jumped the gun with the cannibals. They were trying to beat Walking Dead to this subject. But you have to be in years before people resort to this. Maybe the man was crazy or a cannibal anyway, but you can't get others to resort to this behavior so soon. I think it's crazy to be taking Murphy to California without knowing for sure anyone is still there. I guess they're giving him a purpose and it gives them hope, but I wouldn't do it. It seems the things they're doing aren't getting anywhere, like the fuel thing. They could have gotten in the truck before the explosion. I like the Bell thing, the Liberty Bell thing, which is awesome in this last episode. And I'm liking the relationship between 10K and Doc, the old guy in 10K. I don't feel like Garnett is in charge. And then mild spoiler, maybe, I don't know. IMDb says that they've only got the Garnett character listed in 3 episodes. And she also doesn't know what the purpose of Citizen Z is. Well, a lot there from Laura. This was the episode where I became Team Murphy, by the way. I kind of liked the character, but this episode just drove it home for me. We have a purple block that has joined our little chat here, which is either Vicky Adesso randomly sliding in again, or the letter G.
That person, whoever you are, mystery guest. I'm hoping you're not muted.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Good radio.
So mystery guests. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Sounds just like Terry Ivins. Is it Terry Ivins?
No.
Is it the girl that plays Catgirl on Gotham?
No.
Creepy Kelly wants to know.
I think he's turned on by my voice.
Sexy. So sexy. So, Kel, do you want to make a guess to who that is? Or do you know?
I have a sense of who that is.
Okay.
And that would be...
That would be the police, because they heard your comments about Cat earlier.
There were no comments about her, and that was my point, is that I almost made comments, but I didn't. So I deserve credit for that. I'm going to think maybe we've been joined by Gerald Webb. Am I correct?
That would be correct.
Yay!
Hello,
sir.
How are you guys?
All right. So, how is life in the verified lane?
I'm very tired, man. I've been working my behind off, and I was actually recovering from a very, very bad sprained ankle, the worst I've ever had in my life. And so between that and working my behind off, I'm literally pretty close to exhausted at the moment. But it's good. Life's good.
So any details on the ankle spraining situation, how that happened? Was that
Yeah, I got a text that I had to send an email like in an hour to Twitter, and I was running and twisted my ankle. No, anyone who knows me knows that I am a huge basketball player and fan, and I was playing in a league here in Burbank, California, and twisted my ankle pretty bad in the game. So I'm on the recovery, but I can walk around and stuff. I was off my feet for about 3 or 4 days, but I'm good now, and hopefully we'll be back to playing within a week or so.
You wearing one of those little booty things?
No, I'm not. I'm just icing and elevating, and I do wrap it with a wrap and keep it compressed a lot, and take a ton of ibuprofen, and I'm hoping that that's going to take care of it for me.
Oh, you're hoping so. Like instead of getting medical attention, like an X-ray, to make sure that it's not that or.
Doctors, man. Well, doctors are for punks, man. Who needs one of those?
I don't know.
You think when the zombie apocalypse comes, you're going to be able to go find a doctor when you sprain your ankle?
No, but you want to know something? I want you right next to me because I know I can run faster than you now, and you
That's all
don't
right.
have to be the fastest runner in the zombie apocalypse. You
Hey,
just
listen,
got.
man. Tony, I know how to kick you in the knee. Don't worry.
Yeah, okay. Okay, my ankle
So,
don't work, man.
so it wasn't Honey Boo Boo putting you in a Kurt Angle ankle lock to cause the.
No. There's
Okay.
only one woman that can put me in a wrestling hold like that, and her name is Ming Na.
Boy, and she took you out like
Yeah.
that. By the
She's an
way,
agent. Come on, man.
And
She's an
Honey,
agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. What do you expect?
she's not much bigger than Honey Boo Boo, to tell you the truth.
She's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
yeah, it's true. There's some fact, but it was like that. So hey, just so you know, keeping we got some.
I wasn't ready.
Anyway, on Twitter, Myrna says hello. She
Hey,
says
Myrna.
fantastic to see you. And Vicky Adesso,
What's
who
up, Vicky?
occasionally joins the show, says hi, verified baby. SnarkAlec Radio. So Vicky says hello as well.
So yeah,
And
I called Kelly and personally thanked him, but I wanted to thank him again and all of the SnarkAlecs for what was like a long and consistent effort from you guys on my behalf, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you.
oh, you're very welcome. You deserve it. And you want to know something? No matter what anybody says, you can wear that friggin' ugly ass shirt anywhere you want because you got that little blue check next to your name. So, you know, look at what it got you. It got you a check. You know what I mean?
Yep. I might wear that shirt tomorrow. I have to pull it out of the frame, but maybe I'll wear it tomorrow. It's right there on my wall.
Yeah, but you got it signed, man. You got to just send it to me.
That'll make it even cooler that I wear it when it's signed.
that'll be a nice look as you hobble on one leg wearing the shirt. So that'll be good. That'll be a good look.
It'd be great.
So what else is going on?
Tiredness, the ridiculously tiredness. Oh, I will tell you guys something first, because I don't know if I'll definitely make the cut, but I probably will. But I just worked on a commercial for a company that you guys might frequent occasionally that will be airing for the Christmas season. For those of you who have kids, you may see me in a Toys R Us commercial sometime soon.
Oh, cool.
So you guys, that's a world, nobody knows that but my agent and me, so now you guys know.
Very cool.
Is it just one spot?
SnarkAlec Radio exclusive.
Yeah, just
Is
one
it
little
one
quick appearance in one spot. If I, you never know. They might cut me out. Who knows? But one little quick appearance.
So in the Christmas rotation, I assume that'll be when we see it.
Yeah. Well, they start advertising Christmas and 4th of July, so
Tomorrow,
it should be
it'll be
the
there.
next month.
Cool. Hey, so what we're going to do real quick, folks, is we're going to take a quick break. Gerald Webb is with us, and then other boring people like Mike and Tony and me. But Gerald Webb is with us, and we'll
He's
be right
verified, damn it.
back. Verified, goddammit. You listen to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded, and we will be right back. And we're back. You're listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded. It's Mike, Tony, Kelly, but more importantly, it's Gerald Webb. Gerald has been nice enough to join us again tonight. Thank you very much, sir, for that.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure.
Have you been doing, so we're, tail end of the show, we've been so we're loving Zombie Nation. We are loving Zombie Nation.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm Team Murphy, big time. By the way,
Okay.
that dude, he's a dude.
Talking to him today, actually.
Yeah, I liked. Actually, I think my favorite character besides Doc is 10K. I like those two characters together, but I think in the last episode that they just showed, probably what I was expecting to happen was one of those Asylum moments where the Liberty Bell, where they take the freaking Liberty Bell. I mean, in Sharknado 2, they take the Empire, they take the Statue of Liberty, have the head rolling down the street and it killing people. Here, the Liberty Bell comes off the back of a truck and wipes out a whole bunch of zombies, which was probably one of the funniest things I've seen on TV in a week. And that's like primo. Like when you see that, it's Asylum all over it. So hats off for that. That was great.
Yeah, well, we like to have a little bit of a sense of humor about ourselves, so we want to do some things like that for you guys occasionally.
Hey, so Gerald, could I do just a little bit of geography with you for a moment? Just
Sure.
a teeny bit? Okay. So Philadelphia, East Coast, we're there. Liberty Bell, wiping out zombies. This group traveling to California, West Coast, so across the United States. So they have to travel from the East Coast to the West Coast. With me so far? We're good?
Yep.
So that means you need to travel through the middle of the country. I got 2 words for you, Gerald. Corn crib. Just telling you, the corn crib. There could be a zombie. As they travel to California, what would be better than the zombies in the corn crib? And for the listeners, since nobody will know what I'm talking about, I live in a town full of idiots. We had a major league.
Kelly's neighbors.
Yeah, I'm fine. The facts speak for themselves. We have a minor league.
Wait a minute. What, Kelly? You just said you live in a town full of idiots, but you live there.
Yeah, well, I'm there. I don't
He
raise
also
the
just
average.
said on the radio that he has a thing for a 15-year-old actress. So
I did not. I did not say that.
Now that
What I
sounds
said
like
was
the middle of the country.
I did not say that. She's a fine actress though. But the corn crib is, so we have a minor league baseball team that we had a naming contest for. And the leading vote getter was the Cole Bears. So the word Cole and Bears, but also like Stephen Colbert. And so had we picked the Cole Bears, because he loves to have stuff named after him, we would have had our baseball team mentioned about every other show on Stephen Colbert's show. But instead, in our wisdom, we chose to become the Corn Belters, with a logo of a mildly mentally deranged piece of corn. And they play in a stadium called the Corn Crib. So these were the decisions we've made, and I'm not proud of them. But I do think Zombies in the Corn Crib would be a fine episode. So I just wanted to kind of just...
Well, what I'll say is they will be traveling through the middle of the country at some point, so you never know what might happen.
Well, I'm also going to tell Kelly that Gerald Webb is full of crap because he knows exactly what's going to happen. During last week's airing, the producer or the director tweeted out they had just finished shooting the last scene for the last episode. And they were filming while the show was being run. So it's already been, first season's already in the can now, Kel.
It could be a corn crib flashback. It's kind of a nice stadium. It says corn crib on it.
We will see. We will see.
is that not the best sales pitch you've ever heard? It's kind of a nice stadium.
I think the best part of the sales pitch was maybe we have pity on them because it's a whole town full of idiots.
There you go. Yeah, and we won't even recognize what the cool thing that's happened. But that really doesn't matter. We should still do it.
I could imagine like a zombie chasing after Kelly with a corncob pipe.
Yeah. And Kelly defines idiots as, because, Kelly was the one that was voting for the Colberts, and it's those people who do not think likewise that are idiots.
Who would want to be on a nationally televised, highly rated show mentioned every? That's crazy talk. You wouldn't want that.
I think I'm going to change my name to the Colbert.
There you go.
Well, if they wanted to name the team the Tony Solos, that'd be cool, But Colberts or the Corn Belters doesn't make too much of a difference to me, Unless you change your name to a Corn Belter, Kelly Corn Belter.
Hey.
What the?
I have crazy people in my building.
Ah. So Laura Norman, what I was rambling on about, it was... Just move on, Laura. I'm done.
She gave you a well done. She hasn't given you a DW yet for tonight. So
I threw out a little dig earlier, but so what else is cooking with you, Gerald?
A Mercenaries premiered at the Burbank Film Festival a few weeks ago and won Best Thriller Film, directed by Christopher Ray at Tiki Terrors, and that had Vivica Fox and Zoe Bell and Kristana Loken and Brigitte Nielsen and Nicole Builder back in it, and it was a really great movie, and we were really happy to win, and I actually have the big trophy right here from where we
nice. Congrats.
And if you notice, it looks very similar to another trophy that we won last year at the same festival for Best Horror Film for A House Not a Home.
Not Home.
So here's our
Wow. That's really awesome. And the trailer for Mercenaries, if people haven't seen it, I know I tweeted it out at least 2 or 3 times, but you can find it real easy on YouTube. It looks so awesome. It's a Stallone / Bruce Willis / Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, but it's all girls that are doing the action part. So awesome movie.
I am going to tweet the trailer out right now for you guys.
Sweet.
There, and then we will retweet the Coal Bears.
Coal Bears, and all those actresses are over 15, which is awesome. So I just had to say, that's the kind of thing I like. So it's good.
Yes, they're all over 15.
There you go. It's a good thing. It's always good.
So outside of Kelly's wheelhouse.
So, is there anything else that you can talk about that you got going on, or?
Not really. I'm just kind of chilling, auditioning a bunch, and doing a lot of like the behind-the-scenes work. A lot of promotion for setting up to try and figure out what we're going to do as far as distribution goes for A House Is Not a Home. Really excited because Aurora Perrineau, who plays my daughter in the film, is one of the holograms in the Gem and the Holograms movie for Hasbro. And she's also in a new Kristen Stewart movie called Equals, so that's going to help us, and we're really excited for her. And other than that, I'm actually changing behind the scenes on the business side. I'm changing some of my team and my reps, and to see if we can make a bigger push to move on to some bigger things. So a lot of kind of, house cleaning house, I say, tidying up the house, getting things straight.
That's really, really awesome. Really awesome. So, do you have any time frame?
So you're saying this is the last time you're going to be on SnarkAlec Radio?
No.
In terms of the house cleaning?
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all.
No. Oh, Kelly, I meant to tell you that today is Mike's last show. So, because he's going to work for Joe Webb, and we're standing behind. So, get all the stuff out of the way, between you two lovebirds.
Kelly, you complete me.
Gerald, if you need someone to clean the hallways or just labor, just give me a call, man. Get me out of this thing.
I think we're okay at the moment, but I'll keep your resume on file.
I appreciate that.
That is great. So, we were talking about Z Nation, and I know you are involved in the casting of that. But one of the quibbles that some people had was they felt that with this episode with the cannibals, they were looking to beat The Walking Dead to the punch of the cannibal storyline. And if I remember correctly, at this point in the world, they are about 3 years since the apocalypse started.
Yes.
But I'm guessing it doesn't mean everything went from hunky dory to total zombie apocalypse right away. There was a while before things kind of went to crap, I'm guessing. We don't get a lot in the backstory at the beginning, but they do say it started 3 years before. But I'm guessing after about 3 years, people could be eating other people that weren't zombies.
Well, I think the way we look at it, or at least the way I look at it, and I don't want to speak on behalf of the show, but from my belief, and I am involved in it, is we live in a dangerous world now. They just found out that there was somebody serving pieces of human flesh in Africa somewhere. We have crazy religious zealots that are beheading people. So if the crap literally hits the fan and there's some zombie apocalypse, Lord knows what lengths people will go to have not only save their lives, but to have some semblance of safety and nourishment and those kind of things. So I think it's a natural thing to think about that could happen. And I think that's why we took it on. Probably part of the reason why they decided to take it on so early on our show.
Well, and okay, so I am going to claim ignorance on this, but I don't remember the head cannibal's name. But I mean, he was real creepy. Real creepy character, and he seemed to enjoy eating people more than just for the fact that he was hungry, which was the disturbing thing about that character in the episode. Was
it was Tobias, by the way.
Tobias, okay, yes, and Tobias seemed to enjoy it a little bit too much.
I think that if it's not your ultimately last resort, if you start eating people, there's probably something a little wrong with you. So the person who would do that and set it up as their primary way of life probably isn't the sanest of all people on the planet.
He seemed more misunderstood to me. It was, but I don't know. It's just me. He had a fine kind of business going there. It was
yeah, it's like they didn't even have to hunt anybody down. It's just like, yeah, let's put some, bait out there, and there was a lot of there was action, there was suspense, drama, but I really enjoyed the episode, and damn, I want whatever Citizen Z has in that freezer, because it sounds like he's got loads and loads and loads of food.
He seems to be.
He does. He is at a military place that was designed to last for 30 years for probably a couple of hundred of people, and he's there by himself. So he's doing okay.
That is, hey. T-bones and I guess you could get tired of eating steak after a while, but
I don't think so. I don't think so. But yeah, that is so. The Murphy character, which has become like my favorite on there. Was there anything kind of in that process? Did the actor playing him? I mean, so he was obviously written a certain way, and he was gonna be kind of Kraken wise and be the way he is. But did kind of a little bit of how the actor delivers stuff and his approach and all that, did he start to amplify any of that, or has he been pretty much just executing on, hey, the writers are taking this character this way, and he's just hitting out of the park on what they've done?
I think it's a combination of both. I think the writers write something, and as an actor, he steps into it. But I also think as they get to know him a little bit, it kind of gets tailored to him a little bit. But you probably won't see as much of the tailoring to him until a little later, because it takes them a while to do that. You guys are only on episode 3. But yeah, it's just, I mean, the actor's name is Keith Allen, and I'm gonna tweet out his Twitter handle. You guys should all follow him. And he came in and. A little side note, he's been someone who's worked with our company for a long time in a bunch of capacities, and we were really happy to take somebody from in-house and give them the opportunity to be a full-time cast member on the show.
He's killing it, at least from my standpoint. I said I just love how the character's written, and I love how he's because it's a bit of an I don't call it over the top character, but he's big personality. And man, he's just nailing it. But basically everybody is. I mean, it's a pretty fun show. It's pretty interesting characters. Nice little asylum-ish moments with Liberty Bell and stuff like that, which are very cool. So it's been real fun. So thanks for your contributions to making this awesome thing that we're really enjoying.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I am going to say that I maybe don't like Murphy so much now. He's probably going to have to grow on me a little bit, kind of like our friend Merle from another show. But I mean, I'm sure there are. I mean, he's already lying about certain aspects of his own background, and I don't know if everything is going to come to light on him. But for the quips and stuff, I do like the Doc character, and I really do like 10K.
Listen, don't sleep on Warren, man. Warren is a kick behind character, man. It's one of my favorite characters, so don't sleep on her.
Well, not sleeping. I mean, I'm just pointing out I like the 10K and the Doc relationship. I do like in episode number 2 at the end there was the finger in the hair. That was another what I would call asylumism. So and it's things like that really make the show for me, because it's like, hey, you want to know something? The zombie apocalypse isn't just about blood, and guts splattering on people. There are some humorous things that can happen, and could keep them coming because they're great, especially Liberty Bell. And Doc's reaction to that is classic. He's like, I'd pay to see that again, and I actually DVR'd the show, and that one little section I've rewound and played a couple of times, because like, I don't have to pay to see that again. I can for free. Awesomeness.
Yep. And just wait for the corn crib moments. Those are gonna be so funny.
I just tweeted to Connor Marks, because he tweeted to me, who plays 10K. So you guys should follow him too.
Okay, hold on a second, because I need to find that. I will put him on the list.
Yeah, and that's that is one of the really kind of nice things about the show, is that there's a broad cast of very interesting, very different characters that you can kind of run with elements of each a little bit, and so there's a little bit of something for everybody depending on kind of what kind of character you would gravitate towards, but it's been pretty great. I mean, we were going in optimistic because we knew you were involved and we know you do great stuff, but we've been loving it. So
I'm glad you guys like it. I knew it would be right up your alley.
Well, I mean, it's hard not to like the asylum stuff, because it, a lot of it is, hey, I'm going to sit down. It's a Friday night. I'm tired. I just want to see something that's fun to watch. And so far, every Friday night we're getting something that's fun to watch at 10 o'clock. So, and we know this time's going to keep it coming. So,
cool. I'm glad you like it.
Where is it? So there's Keith. I've got that one. I'm gonna throw him on the list. And you said you also tweeted out 10K?
I just tweeted to a guy named Connor Marks, who is the guy who plays 10K.
Okay. See you.
I had Mr. Allen already, but we got Connor now as well, so good deal. So thanks for sending those out. Very cool.
You're welcome.
Yes, people will appreciate that. So, at this point, are we going to wrap this puppy up?
I think so. We could do that, or we could do that, and you can save. I think you had a game we can maybe save for next show.
I don't know. It's 10 questions, and we got Mr. Webb here.
Yeah.
We can
I know.
put him up against
You got a couple minutes, Gerald?
Sure, I got a couple minutes.
All right. Well, tell you what, Tony, should we take a quick break and just come back and do the game and wrap it up, or just go?
Yes. Let's take a break, and then we'll go, and then we'll wrap.
Okay, hey, we'll be right back. You're listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded, and we will be right back with a game with Gerald Webb. And we're back. It's Mike, Tony, Kelly, and the Corn Crib's biggest fan, Gerald Webb. And we are going to play a game that Tony has. I believe it's Nerd Trivia, is that?
It is Nerd Trivia. And on my screen, I got Mr. Webb, I got Kelly, and I got Mike. So we're going to go in that order. Multiple choice questions, and it's 1 point for each correct answer.
Okay.
And so, first question is, the number of the trash compactor where the heroes almost get crushed in Star Wars A New Hope is A, 3268322, B, 3263827, 314159, that's C, or D, 1138.
B.
B. Gerald Webb says B. Mr. Kelly.
D.
D. 1138?
Yes.
Mike.
That would be D.
That would be D. And Mr. Webb gets 1 point. It is 3263827. Mr. Webb gets the first one right. 1 point.
Trick question asking son of a bitch.
Next question. Well, one of them was pi. 3141579. Anyway, question number 2, we're going to start with Kelly. How often does a Vulcan male experience Ponfar?
Who is over 18? I'd like to point out.
Okay. A, every year. B, twice in his lifetime. C, whenever he drinks Tranya. Or D, every 7 years.
Since it treated me so well last time, I'm going to go with D again.
Okay, Kelly goes with D. And Mike?
I'm going to go with D also, because there's anybody who knows about spraying a little Ponfar around here, it's Kelly Tool.
and it's far. Mr. Webb?
Twice in his lifetime. I think that was B.
Yes.
Yes, I will go twice in his lifetime.
Okay, so this time we're going to reverse fortunes here, and Mike and Kelly get a point. And Mr. Webb, sorry, you get nothing. You lose. So we're at a 3-way tie. Number 3. Logan 5 is ordered to find what? Logan 5 is ordered to find what? And this is going to Mike first. A, Sanctuary. B, Heaven. C, Farrah Fawcett Majors. Or D, Carousel.
I'm going to go with Farrah Fawcett.
Okay, so Mike goes with C, Farrah Fawcett. Mr. Webb, do you need to hear those selections again?
I'm going to go with Sanctuary. I think it was A.
A, Sanctuary. And Mr. Tool?
I will go with my corn crib brethren, Gerald, and also go Sanctuary.
Sanctuary. Okay, so we've got 2 A's and Farrah Fawcett Majors. And you are right, Mr. Tool and Mr. Webb. Sanctuary, Logan's Run. Carousel was actually, I think, how they killed them. They went on Carousel and they were disintegrated or some kind of crap. And so next one. Next one is the main enemy of the Micronauts. The Micronauts was A. And this is going to Mr. Webb. We're back to Mr. Webb. A. Rom. B, Force Commander, C, Baron Karza, or D, Akroya?
Wow. Yeah, I have no clue. Can you read those answers again?
Number 1 is ROM, R-O-M. B, Force Commander. C, Baron Karza. And D, Akroya.
I'm gonna go C.
C, Baron Karza. Mr. Kelly?
What was one again? Rom?
ROM.
Yeah, sure. Do that.
Okay. And Mike?
I'm gonna have to go with Kelly and go with whatever one he said.
Okay. And repeating round number 1, Mr. Webb gets a point, and Mike and Kelly get nothing. So at this juncture, we've got Mr. Webb with 3, Kelly with 2, and Mike, you've got a solid 1 there. And this one goes to Mr. Kelly Toole first. And it is an easy one because it is a true or false. So you've got a 50% chance of getting this one right. The first appearance of Boba Fett was on the Star Wars Holiday Special, starring B. Arthur, Art Carney, and Jefferson Starship. True or false?
That'd be true.
Kelly says true. Emphatically true. Mike?
I'm gonna go true as well.
And Mr. Webb.
I will say true as well.
Okay, and everybody gets a point. So standings stay the same. 4, 3, and 2 now. Mr. Webb, Kelly, and Mike. Moving right along. Here you go, Mr. Mikey.
By the way, B. Arthur was as hot as 5 15-year-olds in that, just so you know.
Yeah, and Betty White is as hot as about 7 of them. What was, Mike, you're going first on this one. What was the name of Buckaroo Banzai's band? What was the name of Buckaroo Banzai's band? A, the E Street Band. B, the Hong Kong Cavaliers. C, the Tokyo Drifters. Or D, Electric Mayhem.
The Hong Kong Cavaliers.
B. Mikey goes with B.
Couldn't remember which letter that was.
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Webb?
Oh, it's my turn. Can you give me the answers again, please?
E Street Band is A. B is Hong Kong Cavaliers. C is Tokyo Drifters. And D is Electric Mayhem.
I'm gonna go with the. What was B? I guess B.
B. And Kelly?
So I'm going to go with the Hong Kong
Cavaliers.
Cavaliers, which, by the way, LeBron James left Miami Sound Machine to join.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay, and everybody gets a point. Okay. Next one is this is a hard one. The name of the computer in 2001, A Space Odyssey, was A, Dave. And this is for Mr. Webb first. A, Dave. B, THX 1138. C, Cygnus. Or D, HAL 9000.
I think I'm gonna go with D.
D. Mr. Webb goes with D. Kelly?
I will also go with D.
And Mike.
That would be D, sir.
HAL 9000. So, Mr. Webb has 6. Kelly has 4. No, 5. Kelly has 5. Sorry, I'm not trying to rip you off, Kel. And Mikey, you've got 4. 6, 5, 4.
Hey, you can count backwards.
I can. Okay, so now this is a multiple point question. I'm going to give you a list of 5 actors, and you're going to have to tell me which ones played Doctor Who. And you get a point for every right answer, and we'll make this the last question. So this is pretty cool, because if Mike gets it right the right way, he could actually win the game if Mr. Webb stinks up. So, Kelly, it's going to you first, and I'm not going to tell you how many on this list are actors who played the Doctor. So that's the rub, but it's more than one. Okay.
You're gonna give 5 names, right?
I'm going to give you 5 names.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready.
First one is Tom Baker. B is Sean Connery. C is Peter Cushing. D is William Hartnell. And E is Peter Weller. So which ones of those have played the Doctor?
We'll do A, Tom Baker.
Tom Baker.
And D.
A and D, William Hartnell. Okay. And Mike?
Okay, so I know A. Which letter was Peter Cushing?
Peter Cushing was C.
A, C, and D.
A, C, and D. Okay, Mr. Webb, it is to you.
I'm going to say A, C, and D.
A, C, and D. Wow. Wow. Tom Baker, Peter Cushing, and William Hartnell, A, C, and D, were all doctors. Kelly, the 2 that you picked were correct. You just didn't get Peter. So the final tally is Mr. Webb 9. Mike gets a 7, and Kelly gets a 7. So you guys end up in a tie, and Mr. Webb is the clear winner.
Very cool. Hey, that's nice, Tony. Appreciate it. That's a good game. That's good.
You like that, huh?
I did. Yeah. I'm disappointed in my performance, but I thought it was a good game.
That was a very difficult question. I am surprised at the amount of nerddom that came out of my mouth just now.
I'm surprised at the
I was
amount
going
of...
to say, was it difficult because of the question itself, or difficult because you had to face things about yourself you weren't ready to?
I think it was difficult because of the questions, and then it was kind of like, how do I latently know these answers? Because I didn't actively know these answers. It was a subliminal release of nerd information from me.
Yes, and now people are going to have to go to bed and sleep on that, knowing that they had knowledge in their brains that they did not know they had. But yeah, I mean, some of these things are kind of like basics of nerddom, and some of them are you have to dig a little bit deeper.
The sad part for me about the Doctor Who one is I've never seen Doctor Who.
Yeah, so we're gonna see. We're gonna have to check to see if Mike has some Google skills. But nah, that was good. You guys did great. You guys did a lot better than I thought you were gonna. And actually,
No, just because people don't shut the fuck up about Doctor Who.
Hey,
So I've heard all of these names in relation to Doctor
I have to be honest. I'm not a big Doctor Who guy.
I'm mixed in terms of, so I was Tom Baker when Tom Baker was on, and that was kind of the first batch that they were airing in the United States. I enjoyed those, and then I kind of fell off after that. The new ones, my youngest daughter's a big fan of, and so she's kind of pulled me in a little bit. They're not too bad, but I'm not quite as. There are some people that are really, really big fans of the show.
the Tom Baker ones, those are the black and white ones, right?
No, Tom Baker's started in '74.
Okay.
So he was the second Doctor in color.
Okay.
But it was pretty good. But yeah, they've got some of the classic ones on Netflix now, so you can go back and see some of the black and whites and stuff. And they did not have a large special effects budget. Probably
No,
for
they
most
did
of
not.
it. So,
They did not. And going from watching like Star Trek to watching Doctor Who, and I remember, and it could be because I had some older cousins that were in college at the time, and maybe they used to smoke weed and watch it. I don't know. But I mean, and maybe I was too young to understand it, but it seemed like, okay, yeah, you think this show is good, but like Star Trek, they have computers with like lights that go on and off, and this is just like a badly painted wall, So it was a big turnoff for me, anyway.
well, I think Gerald. First of all, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Very cool.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And awesome to see your verifiedness, which is excellent. Long
Hey,
time.
yeah, can you check somewhere around?
Yeah, you should get like a medallion or something. That would be, or a button, at least a button.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can. I
would
mean,
get a T-shirt. I would go with a T-shirt.
It's a blue check mark, and I'm sure they can't, trademark a check mark, So,
Just get a T-shirt with a check mark that says "Been verified."
yeah, you just can't use their font because I think they have a special font that they use, so they can. I mean, but then again, if you made the shirt, just as long as you weren't selling it, for a profit, it would be a totally different thing.
Or think tattoo. What are they gonna do?
I wonder.
So anyway, next week we've got we might have Bronwyn coming on for our Z Nation / pre-Walking Dead show. Bronwyn Kelly is real fun, but if she doesn't come on with us next week, she's definitely going to be on the following week. So we might have her 2 weeks in a row. Next week we're going to talk about Dark Hall. We're going to talk about maybe Zombie Lake. And maybe Massacre of the Zombies or Zombie Massacre. That movie, the Uwe Boll movie that I was talking about. Z Nation, of course, Gotham, The Walking Dead. And so don't forget to hit the website. Check us out. Bring out your geek. We've got Dylan coming up with The Assistant on Sunday. He's also got his show, Dylan Knows. Bring out your geek, like I said. Nurture and Support, Kellyanne Mel's podcast. Comes out every Monday. Check that out. And that's about it. And merci beaucoup, Kelly. Take us out.
I think Gerald. So actually, Nurture and Support comes out every Friday, but we will bring it out, and I think Gerald will love how we take things out now. This is the new way we end SnarkAlec Radio. We give you mercy.